Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum to you all. So, in today's discussion, I would like to discuss about the philosophical concept of preamble and why preamble is important in remaking and in renovating the modern constitution. So, actually, I'm from Bangladesh, so I would like to make a clarification on compared discussion of preamble between Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan. First of all, I have to mention what is the demand of the preamble, why preamble is literally important. But before that, it's literally important to talk about the concept of the preamble and the definition of the preamble. From the modern constitution, I think that preamble definitely is a way or is a document whether the people can take the authentic information, whether people can take the authentic data, whether people can take the historical background of a specific nation, increasing and decreasing the philosophical context and insight of the culture and the community. So this is the demand of the modern constitution. But different types of scholars, they have emphasized lots of things regarding the preamble. Even if I talk about the Indian philosophy and the Pakistan philosophy, and more specifically the philosophy of Bangladesh, which has been organizing in Bangladesh since the 1971, from the commencement of Bangladesh constitution, there is a very big vacuum. So one of the philosopher, they admit that preamble is the basic structure of the constitution. Basic structure means it is one kind of part and parcel of the constitution. If any kind of person reform, recreate, or retreat, or more even remove the philosophical part of the constitution, this does not hurt the basic structure of the constitution. On the another discussion, the Indian philosophy and the Indian biggest case, la Keshavananda Srimati Keshavanandi Bharati case versus Union of India. In that case, it is emphasized that preamble is the basic structure of the constitution. That means it is one of the vital part of the constitution. If you renovate, remake, and remove the constitutional measurement and constitutional impact from the constitution, that will create a big vacuum over the constitution and the constitutional philosophy. So this is not my matter of concern. The second reason is that when actually the government or the law enforcement agencies will recreate the preamble into the constitution. The first reason is that in the during the time of the commencement of the constitution, first of all they will mention the core philosophy in their constitution, because it is important not for the development of the constitutional entity or the constitutional identity. It is literally important for remaking a very good vibe, whether people will get the authentic information of the constitutional impact and the constitutional practice. So in that mechanism, I can discuss about the importance of the preamble. So in the previous time, I have also discussed preamble is the basic part of the constitution. So why it is the basic part of the constitution? Because preamble has a great impact in renovating the constitution and the constitutional philosophy. The modern philosophy definitely strategically said that preamble is the part and parcel and more even the basic structure of the constitution. So why it is the basic structure? This is a very big question, because the Indian philosophers and the Bangladeshi philosophers regarding the constitutional impact, they critically identified that if you make any kind of renovative idea in the preamble, that will create a new psychology, new psychological demand. For example, in the commencement of the Bangladeshi constitution, it is mentioned that this preamble will reflect the people's will of Bangladesh. So, what do you mean by the people will? People will means it is definitely support the democracy or the democratic concept of utilitarianism. That means upojogitavad. In the greater concept, the philosophy of utilitarianism is that the greatest happiness of the greatest impact of the humankind. Because, for example, in a classroom, there can be hundreds of the students. 60 of the students can be in favor of my opinion and 40 of my students will against my opinion. So this 60 of the students opinion has to be established in remaking and renovating the constitution, the constitutional philosophy. This is also mentioned in Bangladeshi constitution. For these reasons, the majority will support the constitutional impact in remaking the constitutional philosophy for the modern constitutional impact. So in this mechanism, I have to also mention how the Bangladesh government or how the Indian government or how the Pakistan government, they will renovate the modern preamble in their constitution. For example, in the year 1972, whenever the Bangladeshi constitution has made, in the time the constitutional expert said that we had to make a very good constitutional preamble that will reflect our ideology, that will reflect our economic insight, and as well as that will reflect our historical background from different types of sources and ideologies. And you know that Bangladesh has been surprised by the Indian subcontinent or by the British Orientalism for more than 250 years old. So in that mechanism, our legal system was changed, our philosophy has been changed, even our cultural dynasty and the cultural philosophy has already been changed. So the question may arise, how the constitutional maker of Bangladesh, they have mentioned a very good philosophical identity in the name of preamble. So first of all, they have also mentioned the four state principle of Bangladesh constitution that will reflect the nationalism, socialism, democracy, and the secularism. But in secularism, I have a very big but, because 90% of the Bangladeshi Muslim, they are in favor of the Islamic concept, Islamic culture, and the Islamic philosophy. But for favoring a very good liberalized country, in the time our constitutional expert, they have mentioned the secularism in Bangladesh. But unfortunately, it is said that the modern concept of secularism is not be identified in the Bangladesh constitution. We are only taking the smartest move of secularism in the perspective of the Indian subcontinent. So from this perspective and from this ideological basis, I have to say that secularism is Bangladesh is has made a narrow down concept rather than the concept of the Indian subcontinent and the Indian philosophy. On the other hand, if you remake the concept of the Indian psychology and the Indian philosophy, they also started their constitutional measurement with the name of "We the people of India." Even there is a very good relationship between Bangladesh and India. The both country has mentioned a very good criteria with the people of Bangladesh, with the people of India. On the other hand, if I discuss about the Pakistan constitution, in Pakistan constitution they actually say that they have a strong belief on their Almighty. That means Almighty is the sole bearer of the Pakistan constitution, and Pakistan will be deliberately run after the Islamic philosophy, Islamic culture, Islamic ideology. But after the remain and after the rethinking of the Pakistan constitution, they have made a very good clarification over their constitutional mandate is that their constitution will be go through the process of the Islamic philosophy, Islamic culture, and the Islamic satisfactions. But if I make a very comparative discussion on the Pakistan constitution, with we rethink that in Pakistan constitution, though they admitted the philosophy of Islam in Pakistan constitution, but in real sense or in pragmatic sense, they are not mentioned the philosophy of Islam in their practice and in their pragmatic influence. For example, their 18 or 19 prime minister, they are dominated by the military regime. That means military is the flag bearer of Pakistan. So everything will be done with the help of the military in Pakistan. So how you will clarify these types of Islamic philosophy, Islamic culture, or the Islamic dimension in the name of Islamic figure, in the name of Islamic philosophy, including the constitutional mandate and the constitutional philosophy. So this is the core identification of Bangladesh, Pakistan, and the Indian constitution. So while I'm talking about the comparative analysis over Bangladesh, India, and Pakistan, in that mechanism, I have to also discuss about the demand of the preamble in remaking the philosophical insight of a specific nation. For example, Bangladesh is a democratic country. At the same time, Bangladesh is a liberal socialism country. But till now, no government in Bangladesh, they have not implemented the philosophy of socialism, the philosophy of secularism in Bangladesh. That means technically they attributed the secularism in Bangladeshi constitution, but this types of constitutional mandate, it is not codified till now. So how we will rethink that this constitutional measurement and implication will be implemented in the future time also. So there is a very big but. The but is that the constitutional philosophy will never change on the basis of the philosophical identity, socialist identity, or more mentioning the philosophical identity of the constitutional mandate of a specific country. So in the previous time, we had tried our level best to remake a liberal constitutional basis country, but I think that it's literally not possible in Bangladesh, because 90% of the people in Bangladesh, they are following the fanatic Islamism. This is not the true Islamism. True Islamism always says that people's dignity, people's attire, people's dimension, even the people's historical insights. So, though on hand, I'm saying about the Islamic philosophy, Islamic culture, Islamic satisfactions, but in our pragmatic sense, we are not following the Islamic culture and the Islamic satisfactions in our daily life and daily practice. So this is a kind of big dilemma in remaking and reinsuring the Bangladeshi preamble into the constitutional practice and the constitutional insight. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.